Well, here we go again. I'm your announcer, Artie Intel, and I thought this make-believe radio was over. Backed by popular demand. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Backed by popular demand. It's the Sal and Rich Show. On today's show, Sal and Rich welcome Bruno Catrambone, alumni from PVI, the class of 1974. Bruno will talk about his life at PVI 50 years ago.
We are live. Welcome, Bruno.
Boy, that's a hell of an introduction. What I've been doing since 1974. Christ, nothing. I don't know what.
Okay, that's the end of the show.
Goodbye.
He's done nothing. Thank you, Gabrielle McCluskey.
Who's
doing,
casting?
fellas?
We're doing great, man. Doing great. Thanks for
Yes.
coming and doing this. Appreciate
He's our
it.
talent coordinator.
Good connect.
Before we get started, though, I want to cover the late breaking news. If you've been living under a rock, just want to congratulate Mike Bush. He made it into the Hall of Fame. We're so excited for Mike. It was so overdue, and want to thank everybody that listened to this podcast, took the time to submit a vote, and that really pushed him over the top. So, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Congratulations to Joyce. She's been supporting Mike. I don't know how many years they've been married, but it just really is one of those feel good events. So we're happy for them. And I know you know him, Bruno, right? Everybody pretty much knows Mike.
Yeah. Mike was sort of, especially you guys were so much older than us. They were heroes. They were mentors back in that
Right.
age that we.
So much older. Okay.
It'll all change. We're all in the old bastard club at this point, so it doesn't really make a difference what that number is anymore.
You're kind of right, though. It's kind of funny because back then, 3 years, you're 74, you graduated 71. That was a big deal. That was a lot of difference in time and age.
Yeah.
So, but then when you fast forward, so what the hell? 3 years? Who cares? You're in the same club, right? Yeah. So tell us.
Somebody asked me the other day. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I want to cover a couple things. One is obviously you graduated class of 74. I also noted and I remembered that you played some baseball, so you were an athlete. You're on the athletic page too. Tell me about that. I don't even know what position you played.
Well, I was a second baseman. I was a role player on a team. I wasn't Chase Utley. I didn't make All-State. But I was a role player on a team. I think I played a decent common level, if you will, and we had a good group of guys there, and I can remember their names, their positions.
Did you play all 4 years?
It was good. I played all 4 years. In the first couple years, if I remember right, it was the O'Brien boys. It's funny, they were both baseball coaches, but they weren't related. I think they were both Gloucester guys too, Danny O'Brien and Jim O'Brien.
Right? Yeah.
And then the last year, for some reason I don't remember why they moved on but then probably Mr. Sheehan took over as the head coach, and he coached for a couple of years, and he was an ex-pro ball player, happened to live right over in Westmont, and he came in and he was a hell of a good guy too, and he did a real nice job, even just putting up with us. We were
a rowdy bunch,
not the same group as you guys. Yeah. So we had it was a good cycle. It was a good group of people that were always there that time, and it was a fun era. It was a fun era. And then
you never played football though,
and then
right?
I got a chance to. I played football freshman year, but I think I broke an ankle sophomore year, junior year. I never made it to the team after that. So,
okay.
Just an average guy.
You wanted to say something, Rich?
So you rumor has it you may be involved with the Hall of Fame this year.
I just got that notice the other day.
Yes, I heard. Congratulations.
I was kind of stunned, Michael. It was Friday. Mike Chambers gave me a call, and I just said, "Why? Why the hell would you do that?"
Wow,
that's great.
But listen, it's just very flattering. It's just I'm thrilled for being part of that school when I was part of it. and then you get a little bit older and you realize that the world has changed and you want to be part of it again.
Right.
I had a little affiliation, and I think you guys got a chance and you spoke with it. Donna, my youngest son was going in there, and for some reason I was around the school. It was maybe the early 2005, 6, somewhere in that era. And Donna said, you need to come back here and be a coach with us. And I said, nah, what are you talking about? And I had been doing some coaching, and I was an umpire at that point.
Okay.
It was just sort of a career flow. And then, Don and I were talking, and we walked inside the school. And as soon as you walk inside that school, all of a sudden, and I'm feeling it now. I got the chills again.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I sat down and we had conversation, and I became part of that process. So now you're getting involved with it, during a cycle of the year, the baseball cycle, and even before that. And you're involved with the kids and part of the curriculum and the culture there. And you're becoming a baseball coach. And maybe for maybe about 6 years after that, and I continued to coach. It was wonderful. It just drags you back into that, but the culture has changed so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
So much. Yeah.
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Sal and I both had the chance to take a tour of the school in July, and we were just amazed at how everybody likes the school. I mean, it wasn't like that, I think, when we left the school. We were happy to say goodbye to it.
Yeah.
But I do believe that the current administration has just changed things. And if I had kids today who were that age, they'd be going to Paul 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No question. I tell you something funny on that culture too. And I got my cousin, South Philly, Al Lero, and his kid's a good little ball player. And all of a sudden I realized he was starting to and I don't think we affiliated the Paul 6 connection in mind. His kid's 13 years old, and then I saw him play, and I said, you gotta move the jersey. And he said, well, Bruno, we're looking at it. We're talking about it. We went to an open house at Eustis. I said, wait a minute, now you got to get the ball six. Enough. All due respect there, Eustis, in this program. But, and then they went to the open house. I'm hoping that personally, if it works out for them, that's even more wonderful. But I understand he got accepted. So now we got people from South Philly coming in. And I'm thinking to myself, and I mentioned it to Mike, and he said, we had 8 already from South Philly. If we get 30, I'll get a bus to go. I don't know whether people are going to move here now or they're driving in a van. And Mike's, so that's what's going on in the culture there. I mean, not even people in South Jersey want to come there. It doesn't matter. They know all about the school and how wonderful it is at this point.
And I'll tell you this. I mean, I live a mile and a half away from Paul 6. So a lot of the grammar schools, I'm hearing nothing but people are not letting their kids go to the public high school and putting them in Paul 6.
Yeah.
Which is a tribute to what's going on today.
It really is. And listen, Mike Chambers, we're going off on the school culture, but that's what this podcast is based on. And you just can't say enough of what Mike Chambers and Sister Marion, I guess, in the era that I've been watching. And now, Mike is the principal, the president, and he brought in Phil as the principal, and he's got a whole staff, and Gab doing the I'll call it social media, but it's, help develop that culture, and all the other people that have been there for so long, the Katies and all those folks that are there. And now you think about how did they survive through COVID, when there was virtual learning and people are paying tuition and COVID and there's places getting rifles getting pulled on them all over the country. And I think I thought to myself, you be the president of a school, isn't it about reading, writing, arithmetic? No more. It's got nothing to do with that. You got to hire other people to do that. Yeah, Mike being the president of that school took the culture to a different level when it was just in this country at its worst, And
what did they,
I'll tell you what
do during,
I like.
I'm sorry, Rich.
Just
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, what did they do
My
during
understanding
COVID?
was they didn't close. Yeah, they
Okay.
didn't close from what I understand.
Wow.
They couldn't force you to come in, so they had to do both.
Right.
So you came in, you had to be taught, and if you wanted to only do it from home, you could put your screen on blank, pretend you were there, I guess. I would have done
Yeah.
that if I was a kid.
I actually heard that Sister Marianne, I guess, had this COVID thing. She was sort of prepared for it, like in October, November, the year before, somebody told me. And she prepped the school for COVID. I mean, those kids were ready with iPads, whatever the heck they needed. And a tribute to her, really, for doing that, because a lot of the public schools were not ready for this.
That's right.
And I think they've just floundered since then.
Yep. It's
So
really
she had the foresight.
It's really, yeah.
By the way, I want you to say, Sal, did you notice he calls her Gabs? You and I were told we have to call her. Well, we started out as Miss McCluskey. We got to call her that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and then we're now allowed to call her Gabriella.
Yeah.
We haven't.
Maybe
we don't have that
we'll
relationship
call her
yet.
Gabby by the summer.
Listen, what a hell of a job she's done. There was no social media with Paul Six before. It had a website.
Well, yeah.
and,
Right.
and that's not
She stepped it up to the 21st century, really.
absolutely. You guys see that Christmas, not only this year, but last year's Christmas
Yes. Yeah.
event they had. And listen, it's just so creative, so wonderful. I'm guessing we'll give Gab the pat on the back for that, but maybe I'll get a call and
it's
say,
like a Steven
she didn't do it.
Spielberg
Somebody...
production. I mean, it's
But
unbelievable.
it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I went to the open house that I had referred to you before that my cousin went to, I think Gab had asked me. I always say to them, what can I do at this point? I'll do anything that they ask. Please. So if there's a reunion or an alumni play, and they have like a Friday night for all alum come in, and I go in. I'm the bartender, I pour the wine in, and it's fun. You're the people you're running, you'll read a badge, and you'll maybe realize that it's maybe somebody you went to school with, it's their kids and their alums. So it's kind of fun, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think she asked me to stop in at the open house, and I went there, and I was just amazed. You went into the cafeteria, and there was a whole category of administration there. And then if you went into the gym, all the coaches were there based on what sport you wanted to play. You could stop in and the coach would do his thing with you. And then they would kick this thing off in the auditorium, and the girls that were there that were dancing, and they were all these the Impossible Dream and all that stuff, and they were dancing to it, and sort of. And people that didn't know anything about the school, they were, unbelievable. They were floored. It was just so overwhelming on an open house.
It's crazy. It's great. It's a great way to sell it. And it's not, they're not pretending. This is the environment. Like you said, this is the culture, right? So it's a great, they've come a tremendously long way. And as a former graduate, I feel very proud of what's gone on there. So tell me a little bit about after you graduated, how long you've been married, how many kids you have, where do you live? Let everybody know that.
I'll start that off. My wife just ran out for a little bit. 44 years. Can you imagine? Every anniversary now we look at each other and
Yes,
say,
we can.
and we look at each other and say, are you kidding me? 44 friggin' years? Let's go. Anyway.
I hear you, man.
When I graduated, I went down to, and I was telling my kid, I don't want to go off on this, but it's just kind of funny stories when you talk about it. When you graduated, you didn't get on a plane and fly to a university and say, I want to take the tour. I got a postcard, and I said, all right, this was called Biscayne College. It was like the only one I could get into. I could, so, I'll come back to it. My one son went to Villanova. My other son went to St. Joe's. My two favorite schools in the world
Right.
And
Right.
you sort of take your kids into a 16-year of Catholic education, right?
Right.
But I couldn't get into those schools. I was no A student. Just like in
Yeah.
baseball, I was a good role player and I could do my job. And in high school, I used to look at a buddy of mine, Glenn Jackson, and we used to walk out every day and say, "Taking any books home?" Nope, not me. Yeah, you did what you did.
Yeah. Well, I was the
But
same way, Bruno.
but
I graduated. I graduated in '71. I couldn't get into any schools. I was probably maybe a C plus student, and the best. Well, number one, I couldn't
there you
afford
go.
it, so I wound up going to Rutgers and Camden, riding the speed line every day. Taking the train and going there, and I got a great education. And it's so funny because I hear what the price of college costs today. My freshman year at Rutgers was like $300 that one semester, so 600 for 2 semesters. And by the time I graduated, I think it was over $1,000. But that was a lot of money in 71, 72. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. But
Wild,
you know
huh?
what? At the end of the day, what I discovered in my career is that it doesn't really matter where you went to school. It's a matter of what you learned and what your really experiences
Right.
are on the job. That's what carries
Yeah.
you,
Yep.
and your
Yep.
morals and all
Absolutely.
that. So,
So
well, so okay,
yeah,
44
that's
years, and you have two boys.
I have two boys. One's trying to think of his title. He's director with PNC Bank.
Okay,
Oh,
Um,
cool.
and the other one, the younger one, works with me at Bruno and Company.
Cool.
duck your
And
head, Bruno.
yeah,
Push Bruno and Company. It's right
yeah,
in back of you.
Yeah, that's right. There's the sign.
Um,
Bruno and Company.
Bruno and Company. Yeah, there you go. Uh, um, but the bottom line is that the older one, Nick, is a little bit more analytic guy and working in a banking system, and that's all works for him.
Yeah,
And the Villanova guy, and Joey, the younger one, is probably more like a street guy like me, and more of a hustler, um, and saw this business that had gotten into, and wanted to be part of it, and said, "Dad, I'm going to try and help you out."
that's
It
cool.
was nice
That's great.
intention, but the kid probably so much more smarter than me that he jumped in and saw parts of the business that we could get into, that the business
Right.
that keeps growing, and I'm working 8 days a week now.
Yeah,
Um, just
Good.
long ago.
Really.
that's
So
awesome.
Probably a lot of guys our age wish they were working 7, 8 days a week.
yeah, listen,
Yeah.
what I always say is, I'm in the sales world. I don't have to dig ditches every day, so I guess I can live with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
What is Bruno and Company?
Well, we're a wholesale distributor, if you will. That's a general term most people can identify, and that is if you have a store, if you own a Hallmark, and you want to come in and buy teddy bears, well, you'll come into where we're at right now is our showroom. We have a showroom we bought right after Hurricane Sandy down in North Wildwood, and right in the middle of the Irish country here. On North Wildwood is the Irish Riviera, so
Yep. Yep.
you got to make sure when in Rome. So we happen to grab this
When in Rome? Is that what he said?
when
Yeah.
in
When
Rome,
around those,
when in North
Change it to when
Wildwood,
in Dublin.
right? And when in North Wildwood, do as the Irish do. That's what I got
Oh,
to do.
yeah.
I learned to drink,
You got-
all kind of nice beers here, and it works pretty good. A lot of good Irish bars down here. So.
Cozy
Good.
Morley's. I remember that.
So, yeah, Cozy Morley, that's right. Mr. Quail
Yep.
and the Quail
Yep.
Boys were all there.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
So that's what we do. We work for different manufacturers, different brands, whether it's apparel. We represent like Columbia Apparel. If you want Columbia Apparel in your store, you come in here and we sit down and we pick the colors and the sizes. We write them down. We submit the orders, and the manufacturers will ship you. So we're a distributor.
Okay.
If you want a souvenir and you want keychains with the tram car on it, we do that design artwork and we get it out to the manufacturer. They provide it. So,
Cool.
um, yeah, so that's what Bruno
So are
is all about.
most of your customers basically in Wildwood or down the shore area?
Well, that's
Clients?
where we started. That's the premiere of what we had, because I worked the boardwalks for probably 8 years, and I just thought I know this racket. I used to worked for the boardwalk guys that, hey, step up. You could be that next lucky winner. 2 and you win, 3 and you
Right.
get choice of the house. Who's going to be next? So that was the hustle I did every summer, all through high
Okay.
school, all through college.
Yep.
And I got into this business. I started out, quickly in the men's apparel business when the malls were the malls, and they had stores, and we became. I became an administrator, if you will, with a menswear apparel company based out of Baltimore. It got sold to a national company. It was $1 billion company. And we moved to St. Louis for about 10 years because that's where they were based out of. We had stores all over the country. At the end of the 90s, we realized that Casual Friday was not just going to be Casual Friday. And all their business started to suffer. And the malls are starting to close now, but you could throw the real estate at anybody and they would take it. But people weren't shopping the malls like we did back in that
Right.
day.
Yeah.
And the menswear industry, for the most part, unfortunately, unless you're in a coffin or you're an attorney, you probably don't wear a suit anymore. So that business went away. And that's when I got into this business and said, I know this business. I don't need to be in malls anymore and
Right.
supervising kids that work and whatever. So we started this business, and we had the Jersey Shore. I sort of knew it and understand it. And then when we made it into a company, not just me as a sales rep, we hired reps, and we have reps in Pennsylvania. We have them in West Virginia, some in New York, some down in Florida, and they represent our company for the manufacturers that we represent, so to speak. So
Okay.
manufacturers pay us the money. We sell their product for them.
Got it.
It would be
How
as
many employees do you have?
well, technically, only 5 in the back office. The people that work for us are 1099s.
Okay.
They can do whatever they want to do, they think, and and they're paid based on what they sell, just like if you were a car salesperson.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's commission based.
So,
Yep.
and that's how we started.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Cool. So you've been doing that for what, about 15 years or more?
Yeah, I guess it started. Yeah, just when the other business, this $1 billion business, they had a little side hustle going on too. They said they were getting out of the mall business. They knew maybe 5 years we started to, and they opened up a little company and they said we're going to get into the restaurant business, really. And they bought a store called Dave and Buster's,
Oh, yeah.
and all of a sudden, that's
Boom.
who they are now.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with selling. They used to have like 7 stores in every mall. They had J. Riggins. They had Jeans West. All those
Yeah,
places
yeah,
that we
yeah.
remember back
Right.
then. Webster Menswear was the name of the company that I ran, and all that stuff went away. All that
Yeah.
stuff went away.
Yeah, it's
So,
tragic what's
they
happened to the
decided
malls.
they were going to.
I saw videos. I think someone posted up on the Haddonfield website about the Echelon Mall. I mean, it barely is alive. It's incredible. I remember that being such
Yeah.
a thriving mall 50
I'm
years
not
ago.
sure it's a mall anymore. Yeah.
Actually,
Well,
part of it
Morristown
now,
Mall is now Cooper Hospital.
really.
And,
I didn't know
Oh
that.
yeah, it's more Cooper Hospital than it is mall. And Cooper. What is it? Morristown and Cherry Hill just filed bankruptcy.
Cherry Hill Mall. Wow,
Well,
I
some
didn't know
people
that.
own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
that thing is just moving away. It's real estate now, and people
Yeah.
are just trying to take the real estate and figure out what they can do with it.
Yeah.
There's a guy in the Deptford Mall that happens to be a customer of mine from the Jersey Shore. He has places on the Ocean City Boardwalk, and he's just branching out. He's just tired of doing that kind of business. He just bought what was one floor of Sears in the Deptford Mall. Now the
Yeah.
lower end was trying to think of the sporting goods store name, the national guy.
Dick's Sporting Goods.
Dick's Sporting Goods. That's on the bottom
Yeah.
tier.
Yeah.
okay.
He's taken the second tier and he's building a pickleball court on the whole second tier. I mean, that's what's
Smart.
happening in today's world. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very smart
Yeah.
for him. He's a heck of
Yeah.
a guy,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing for
Jeez.
him.
Yeah.
It's the world we
That's
live in.
where we're at.
Amazon is crushing, all these businesses at the mall. It's so convenient. I mean, I can order something 10 minutes from
You
now, and
bet.
then later today it's at my doorstep. So why would I want to bother to drive around?
It,
It's just that's the way it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah.
I
So
think the other part of that is you're scared to go to a mall sometimes because of the crime that's taken place.
No question about it. No question about it.
And
Yeah.
I mean, like I want to go to the Philadelphia Auto Show this week, but after reading what happened on 15th Station, I think for
That's what I
SEPTA,
just heard.
where a guy was shot, I'm thinking, what the hell?
yeah,
I'll stay home.
Unbelievable.
that's another problem.
Yeah,
Tell the story,
Yeah.
Bruno,
spend
about
hours on that.
about Governor forcing everyone in the state to not use plastic bags, and what you guys are doing with that, because that was a
Yeah.
funny story you told me about.
Crazy story. Yeah. So the governor, in 2020, right in the middle of COVID, the announcement came out from the governor, just like typical announcements. It said, starting in May 4th of 2022, no more plastic bags. You can't go into Wawa and get, a little, what we call a throwaway bag, a thank you bag.
Right.
Doesn't
Right.
happen no more. You have to go into Wawa. At this point, you have to buy a bag if you want one. It's a different story.
God.
So we're here, and it's COVID, and we're determined. I remember with my son every night at the house, because while both of my kids were working where they worked and lived where they live, in the city, and their leases came up, and they decided they were going to come. We lived down in the Crest. They were going to get out of the city then, which was a good time, and come take care of their old parents. Now I don't
Right.
know if we wanted to throw them out after a little bit of time, or they wanted to throw us out. But the bottom line was, so now COVID hits, and we come into the office, and I just keep telling my son, well, they don't shave every day. But I said, we're going to shave every day. We're going to go into that office. I don't know what. And people are canceling orders every day. They had to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, do you really want to cancel these orders, or do you just want to hold them? And they said, Bruno, do you know when we're going to open again?
Yeah.
Will we open again? The governor shut us down. Like
Right.
Jersey was the first. Jersey and New York were way ahead of that, and nobody knew how to react. The bottom line
Right.
was that 2 years later, the governor said no more plastic bags. So we're looking at things to do. The kid I call, the genius, he decides that he can figure out ways to get face masks in. And because the nurses couldn't get face masks,
I
they're
remember
wearing
that.
face masks for a week taking care of sick people.
Yeah.
Well, he had a friend of his that decided that the nurse that they were involved with from St. Joe's, and she's working at Jefferson Hospital, they were going to do a what do you call it when you go on ask for money on the website?
GoFundMe.
Oh,
Yeah. GoFundMe.
and GoFundMe. Now we're going to do a GoFundMe page. And what are we going to do
Right.
with a GoFundMe page? Well, we're going to make donations, get money. We're going to buy face masks from China, and we're going to donate them to Jefferson Hospital.
Cool.
Okay, all right. Let's give it a try. A couple weeks later, we got, I think, $6,000 or $7,000 comes in on the GoFundMe page. He brings in the face masks. We donate them to Jefferson Hospital, and the next day we're here in the office. It's March. It's desolate here, and Binkley's Electric calls up and says, "Is this Bruno and Company?" Yeah. I saw you have face masks. So I said, "Yep, let me give you a phone to my son." I give it to him, and I hear what the guy's saying. He says, "We need 50,000 face masks. We got electricians going into houses. They've got to be." So now the kid is doing his thing, man. He's all right. He's ahead of the market.
Wow.
Going back to the bag business, the governor
Yeah.
says at that same time, 2020, in 2022, no more plastic. So now I go home, and he's coming home 2:00 in the morning in March and February, right, of 2020. And I said, "Joe, what the hell are you doing, man? The bars ain't even open this time of year." He said, "Dad, I'm working with China." And I said, "Working with China?" He said, "Yeah, their time is not our time. I'm working
Right.
with them at 2 a.m. And
Yeah.
we're becoming the bag people." I said, "Joe, I don't want to be in the, what do you mean? But We're going to be the bag supplier. We're going to make the bags custom. We're going to bring them in for the customers. And I said, I don't need this shit. You know, at my age, I need to bring in 40-foot containers. I need to have a warehouse staff. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And
Right.
he said, and he comes up with, I'll show you the name of the company, Bags by Bruno. I said, no, get my name off of there. He said, Dad, I sent the sample out to all the reps that work for us, and they said, you're the brand. Bags
my
by
God.
Bruno. I said, so if these handles break, they're going to call me? Are you kidding me? He said, chill out. We're just going to do it.
Wow.
Well, we did it. And
Wow.
now we're in another business
Jeez.
beside what we do. And I think I might have sent you, you might have seen it on the page. It's
Yeah,
right
I
here.
hate Bruno. I hate Bruno, it said. Oh my God. I almost fell out of my chair when you sent me that.
Of course,
Yeah,
there's
look
the
at
I Hate Steven Singer world. Yeah.
I hate Bruno.
Well, what was happening was people come into the showroom. They got stores. So now
Right.
it's January of 2022. The bag ban is coming up in 3 months.
Right.
And the people saying, all right, we're open now. And we're going to buy these keychains from you and these T-shirts from you we want Wildwood on the. All right. And then before they're ready to go, I say, listen, you want to talk about bags? I ain't buy. What are you kidding me? I got to buy bags and I'm not going to make any money on them. You think I'm going to buy, you know how many plastic bags I got? I said, all right, chill out, man. I don't, don't get upset with me. I'm just telling you that we're here if you need us. Next guy come in, same thing. And I'm saying, Jesus, all this time I tried to build my reputation, and now these
Right.
people are getting so pissed off at me. And then they realized that the people that were buying bags and they're selling them on the boardwalk and they're actually making money because, we're using a logo. Maybe we're using the Wildwood logo or
Right.
the big W wave. And the grandmoms didn't want to go in and have to buy bags. They didn't want to buy the Acme bag or the
Right.
ShopRite bag. They said, I'm going to have a nice one with, it's not that it's Disney World, but if it's got a tram car on it, okay. That's what they did. And they started buying them. So now these other people saying, hey, Bruno, we need to buy bags. I said,
Oh,
oh
my
really?
God.
Yeah, we made money on it. Okay.
Wow.
So whatever. So that's what the kid did. And that's what, and we brought on, just so that you know, Joey's, I'm trying to think of his, 2012. We have another 2012 gal, Maria DePietro Zaloff, that is working with us. Aaron Fisher, her dad, is the owner for the South Jersey Young Guns baseball team. She's working with us. So we're bringing in a lot of PVI. I just sort
awesome.
of realized that, you know what? I thought I was pretty smart, but these kids are smarter than me. They're a little bit,
Well,
they think a little bit
creativity.
differently. So, and they happen to be PVI, so I was glad to bring them on.
That's awesome. What a
That's
great
great.
story, man.
So how's the bag business today?
What was that, Rich?
How's the bag business today? Still going strong?
Listen, we just came back this week. This is what's happening. So you would think, I told you that we sell them in the Northeast. That's what our territory that we cover. But now we're the manufacturer. We can sell them anywhere we want. We don't have a territory. So we attempt to do it a couple shows. There's one show down in Orlando every year. It's called Surf Expo. And Surf Expo is, less souvenir-y, but more, ocean driven. Well,
Right.
when you do that down in Orlando, you realize that the people that are coming in are from all the islands. They're coming in from Bahama, people coming in from Mexico. Wherever there's water, those people are coming into that. And to them, the eco-friendly bag is not new.
All right.
Now we're showing them that, listen, we do this, we customize it, we put your company name or on the side, your phone numbers, your logo, whatever it was, and we'll do it for you. And now this has sort of become international.
So I guess you saw last week Philadelphia is anticipating a bag restriction
Yeah,
for their stores.
we're ready for it. We're
Okay.
we just have to be in the and
Bruno the bag man.
and certainly I don't know if you guys Bags by Bruno.
You should have a bag, like for people who visit Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you made it out alive.
That's a
Oh,
whole
man.
nother conversation.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of funny. I talk about all the time that I felt like maybe around 15 or 16, I thought Philly was at its best ever.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then around 2020,
Yeah.
and not to get politically, but just
Yeah.
politics just took place and so much conflict. And now I think Philly is, people
it's a
from
mess.
South Philly are more happy to come to Paul VI. That's,
Yeah.
And I hope this new mayor over there
yeah.
does something.
I don't know what to think. We don't, I would be happy if Mayor Rizzo was still around, but I don't want to get political.
Yeah, no, I hear
You
you.
don't know how many times I've heard that said in the last year.
You crumb
Yeah.
bum, get that? You had that.
Frank Rizzo.
I
Yeah.
remember
God bless him.
Philly
God
during the Rizzo years, and then all the push to get ready for the bicentennial, and how Philly became, a hub for new restaurants and known nationally for restaurants and all that. And I remember going over there a lot, and I thought that was probably the peak. And I know that extended into the 80s too, and it was a wonderful time in Philadelphia. Not only for the city itself,
was.
but Philadelphia radio too, which was great, but it doesn't exist anymore like we know it. So
Absolutely.
anyway,
Oh, yeah. There used to be a great radio station down in Vineland, which was not in Philadelphia. They
WDVL.
used to have these two guys on in the morning time. Yes. Let's go to your disc jockey voice, Sal.
Hey, it's Sal. WDVL
It was
FM 92.
Joe Dawson, right?
Yep, Joe Dawson and I. Yep. I don't know if you knew
How
Joe.
about, if you think of these memories that we have, can you ever forget Dr. Donald D. Rose
No.
on Saturday
Yeah.
night? On the
Yeah.
Saturday night Paul VI? Never forget it in my
Highlight.
life.
That was a great dance.
You didn't know how to.
Yep.
You didn't have to know how to dance. You just went to, but you had to get past Father McGilly at the front.
$1. $1 each you win. 3,000 guys and the gals.
Yeah.
Paul VI High School. Remember?
Yep,
And
that's
Violet
right.
would pick. Maybe
Yeah.
you're too young for this one. He would get a bunch of kids from the Paul VI dance and take them over to Channel 48 for the
Yes, I remember
the
Channel
highlight
48.
show.
The
Then bring them
highlight.
back.
Yeah, that was
Those are
on
good
money.
dance.
Those were the those were the
packed
days, right?
and then we go to Green Valley.
The where?
Green Valley.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Green Valley.
Because there's no football field then. You would just
Right.
go out the back door, walk through the woods, and we could have some. I don't know about what you guys did. We might have some beers.
You drank beers?
And then wait a minute. There was another chapter of guys that were over there. And they were already getting high.
Oh, were they?
We didn't get into that till. I didn't get into that till later, but.
I was on the
But
bus
yeah, there was
heading
a beer
home.
section. I remember.
Yep,
Yeah, there was a beer section, and you could hitchhike. You could hitchhike home back then.
that's right. Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
Yes, you could. I don't think I would hitchhike now.
No.
I remember.
Now it's an Uber.
Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
that's how I met Mike Hansel. Remember Mike Hansel?
No.
No, I do not
From
remember
Stratford?
him.
He was the class of '72. He was probably the biggest defensive lineman there, and just a
Really?
sweetheart guy. He lived right across the street from St. Luke's.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
no,
when
I
he
didn't
was
know that.
driving, a couple years older than me, and I would hitchhike, and he would pick me up and give me a ride to school.
You know, a story about Dr. Don Rose, a girl in our class, Rose Holden, maybe her sister might have been in your class, Alfina. I worked for their uncle, Joe Cerbello, and we did store windows during the summertime. And we were working in Point of Woods in Cherry Hill, and it was Dr. Don's house.
Really?
And I had no idea it was Dr. Don's house. And we're putting those store windows, and he came flying into the driveway on his bicycle, and the garage door was closed. Bam! Right into it. That's how I met Dr. Don Rose.
There you go.
That's funny.
Maybe
That's a
EDR.
good story.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's an okay story, but yeah, it was all right.
Well,
Oh,
Bruno,
that's good.
want
How
to
about
thank you
that?
for the time. Thank you for the memories. Congratulations on the business. It sounds like you've done a fantastic job, and you've got
Yeah.
a hell of a son there that's really creative. And it sounds like the business is going to be in good hands when you decide to do something else. It's awesome.
And
Yeah.
when we get up to 20,000 listeners, We will have bags ordered that say the Sal and Rich Show.
Sal
No
and Rich
question
Show,
about
right?
it. We do that.
You may be 90, but we'll do that.
We've made sure that that's happened with some people that we work with, and we make it help endorse their business as well. But listen, thank you guys for everything you're doing for the school. I just thought it was off the charts that there was going to be an undercurrent or a culture of PVI when you guys, I'm on the road a lot in my car. If I have to drive to see somebody in the Poconos or drive to
Right.
where, and the Eagles are losing, I don't want to listen to sports radio anymore. I just don't. So I listen to my podcast, and the fact that you guys are bringing in some, I think you should work a little harder. I think you should do one every day with a different person. But
You don't know how hard this
because
is.
I want to keep hearing more people. Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, jeez.
when you bring on the Franny Mishulis, and especially Sal, Jimmy Quayle I went to school with, and Franny Mishuli, and his brother
Yep.
Billy and I were the same age from Our Lady of Grace, and
Yeah.
unfortunately Our Lady
Yep.
of Grace isn't even there anymore. But
I
all the
know.
people.
The
So wait a minute.
OLG connection.
Wait a minute. You're trying to tell me that you listen to this shit?
Well, I read the
That's
headlines.
really good. Thank you.
No,
He
I
reads the
absolutely
headlines.
do. I absolutely
Good.
and I'm just really thrilled for what you guys are doing for the school, because as we look back on it, it means more to us now than it did when we went there. We couldn't wait to get out, but now
Yeah,
they've done
absolutely.
a hell of a job in the community. And we
Yeah.
realized how special it was to us. We didn't even know it then. It's good
Yeah,
to let people
yeah.
know it through this podcast.
You just reminded me that there's another connection that I have with Bruno, and this is the OLG connection, Our Lady of Grace. I mean, there's a lot that obviously the Quayle family, Jimmy Hansen, and it's just a lot of folks that went to OLG. Monsignor Kelly, that's another discussion for another day. But yeah, that's big. And here's another funny
do you
story,
remember
Rich.
Sal, when he used to give you a report card?
I'm
Do you
sorry.
remember when Monsignor Kelly used to come in and give out report cards?
Oh yeah, yep,
When Monsignor Kelly used to come in on report card day?
yep,
Oh man, you used to
Scared the
sit
hell
there
out of
like
you.
this on your desk,
yep,
and he would
yep,
He would
Yep.
do this.
yep.
And if there was any,
Absolutely.
he didn't care
Yeah.
about your grades. He cared about if you talk too much, whatever those check marks were.
Right.
And you say,
Yep.
"Oh God."
Yeah, it does
You know,
not.
I got my
This is so
report
funny. This funny story about check marks. So I had Sister St. Mark for third grade and fifth grade, and I got a check mark in all 2 years that I had her. Does not follow directions well. So Patty, my wife, happens to see this. She says, "You still don't do that. You still don't follow directions to this day." And she's absolutely right. I always skip to the end. I'm like, she goes, "Sister St. Mark is probably, really pissed off at you because you haven't learned the lesson in all these years." But anyway, then the other final story, and this is another weird story, OLG connection. So I buy my first house in Somerdale, New Jersey, in Timber Birch, and move in, great neighborhood.
Yep.
And who lives next door to me is a couple named John and Nettie Maniscalco. I didn't know them. Sweetest people, two kids, Johnny Maniscalco and daughter Annette. Well, turns out that Bruno's related to Nettie. I was like, and then one day I'm outside, I see Bruno
Like
next door. I said, "What the hell are you doing here?" So, I mean, it's such a small world. It
Unbelievable,
really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Nettie's my
So-
sister,
and
and,
the-
she's the one that kept us
we-
down
we-
in Florida for so long. Thank God she's just got out and she's got into rehab now. So Johnny
Yeah.
and Annette were down there this week. We're all taking shifts. Got to take
Yeah,
care
yeah.
of Nettie, though. I mean, she
Absolutely. Yeah, she's a sweetheart. And
Sal was a next
celebrated
door neighbor.
She celebrated 80 years last year, so she's 81. Her birthday's on Christmas. She's just a sweetheart. John, her
Christmas
husband,
Day?
was
Wow.
a great guy. Yeah. And so anyway, it's
Wow, yeah.
it is a very tight community. It's amazing, all the small connections here and there. So
Yeah, you bet.
anyway, appreciate the time, Bruno. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
next time I'm up, hopefully we'll get a chance to connect with you. And, I'd love to sit down and have a
That would be
beer.
awesome. Or if you-
When is your induction ceremony? Do you know? October?
Yeah, the interesting part, way Michael called it up, because I had gone to him, I guess about a month ago, and one of the options, I try to help coordinate the reunions, and this is our 50th this year.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And I went to Michael and I said, "Mike, have you ever done any at the school? I mean, I think people would be blown away just to be in that cafeteria. It's not
Yeah.
what it used to be." And he said, "Listen, we've done it, but it's not the best scenario. You got to bring in people to cook, and then you want booze, and he said it's not really made for that. So we talked through it, and then we find out that it looks like we're going to use Tavistock Country Club. You need somebody to support you. I called John Conway. Within 30 seconds, John called me back and said, "All right, here's my number. I talked to the girl there. You're ready to go." And we set up the date of October 12th, which the gang on our team sort of said, that's good because there's so many people flying in these days for a reunion. For 50th, they should. That's Columbus Day Monday. And if they're still working and they wanted to be off on Monday or not have to rush back, the 12th was the good date. So when Michael called me up Friday to tell me about my induction, he said, Bruno, I just want to touch base with you. What's the date of your 50th reunion? And I said, Mike, it looks like we're locked in on Saturday night the 12th at Tavistock. I said, so it looks like it's going to be okay. And he said, all right, as long as it's not the 10th. And I said, why is that? He said, because you're going into the Hall of Fame there.
Oh man! Congratulations!
I lost
That's really
it.
good.
I didn't know. So yeah, so I guess I'll be hanging out. I'll be hanging out like I'm a Tavistock guy or something for a couple nights there. And then,
Well, there's a good chance Sal and I will be there.
Oh yeah,
Be
What do you
wonderful.
think, right, Sal?
And you can come to my
absolutely.
You can come to my reunion too. I have since I try to coordinate some of the reunions. Some of the other people that do these reunions, and they're a year ahead of us, a year behind us.
Right.
John Yeager and his wife Marianne, when they were doing it, Kathy Daniels actually runs it. 73. They said, Bruno, if you want to come, I said, yeah, I want to check it out and see what the place looks like. They said, no, come.
Right.
You know a lot of people here. So that's what I try to do is tell people, listen, you got friends or you got connections. Tell them, it doesn't make a difference. It's all about memories. It's all about.
Exactly.
We just finished our 50th reunion, and we checked. I mean, we had to go through a lot of Googling ownerly.com to find the people who were in it. We got 151 people there.
Yeah,
that's a great turnout.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we found out a lot of people who were no longer with us. But if you need any information, give me a call.
That's awesome.
We spent a lot of time doing it.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Super.
Terrific.
All right.
Thank you.
Well,
guys.
we're gonna.
So is that it?
That's it. We're gonna roll out of here with a great song. Since you're in baseball, what we'll do is John Fenton, Centerfield. I love this song. Thank you, Bruno.
You got it.
Take care.
Guys, thank you.